relegation zone, but Bono is in goal. Montiel and Acuna are the wing backs as we're underway. They're going to play with a back three: Carmona, Rekic and Marcao. The midfield: Papu Gomez, Rakitic, Delaney and Isco. Isco, who's been linked so many times with Manchester City in his career, and Rafa Mir is the lone striker for Sevilla, who have got a band of loyal supporters, as Mir already was away on that inside right channel of the penalty area and right-footed, couldn't keep it down. Wouldn't have been the quickest goal in the history of the Champions League, but it would have certainly been one of the quickest. But in the effort, it was off target. Yeah,
it was really sloppy from Ruben Diaz. City regaining possession, Ruben Diaz giving it away, sets Rafa Mir off. Pretty poor finish in the end, but you know, good early chance for Sevilla.
Izzy Christiansen, England international, who's with us here at the Etihad, live on BBC Radio 5 Live. And I know somebody who Izzy's looking forward to watching is this young man, Cole Palmer, who was sent away on the right-hand side. It's his first start of the campaign. He's made 10 appearances off the bench so far. It's actually only his 6th start altogether in his embryonic Manchester City career. But he's a left-footed attacking midfielder. You were saying you've seen a lot of him when your time together at the academy.
Yeah, seen him come through, nurtured through the Man City academy.
Ball given away, Grealish into the penalty area. Alvarez can't turn, back towards Palmer, and off his left foot, he couldn't keep it down. And he looks annoyed at himself, but it was a quick effort just inside the penalty area, and it looked very, very close.
Yeah, really close to a perfect start for Cole Palmer. Just saying there, his technical ability, seeing the way he progressed as a player through the academy, and that early chance from Grealish into Alvarez. Perfect cut back for Cole Palmer. Arguably should have hit the back of the net.
He waited and he just wasn't able to find the target. Let's go to Norwich City, where there's been a good chance. Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Norwich nil, QPR nil. Busy start to the first half, and Seny Dieng has pulled off 2 cracking saves. The first from Gabriel Sara, the latest from Teemu Pukki. Ramsey's ball across, Pukki there, he fired towards goal. Fantastic stop from Seny Dieng in the Rangers goal. Norwich nil, QPR nil.
Wouldn't have been his first goal in Europe. He did score against Bruges last season, but it would be the first in the campaign this year. Look at the rain, absolutely teeming down. I was complaining about how we got soaked getting into the ground, but actually in comparison, I think we got away with it quite well. It was quite light at that stage. It is absolutely torrential rain that is falling. And just think, when these two sides met on match day 1, it was 37 degrees in the beautiful city of Seville. What a contrast.
Absolutely, but very traditional Manchester weather. May I add, Dano, the rain's coming down straight at the moment. When I walked over from the car park, it was actually coming sideways.
The horizontal rain.
Yeah.
Here is Gundogan in the centre circle. Rico Lewis gets a touch, his first start. Home debut for Stefan Ortega, the goalkeeper, as well as Mahrez comes in off the right touchline. Rico Lewis, who's a teenager. He's 18 later this month. You can actually just see him screwing up his face, such is the ferocity of the rain. And here he is once again, but like the way City play, he's an inverted right back at the moment in the midway point of that Sevilla half, and Sevilla in their all black have dropped off as Laporte finds the feet of Grealish out towards that far side. City are going to see a lot of the ball at this stage for a Sevilla side who, well, you put your money on them in the Europa League. You know all about their record when they drop into that competition, as Pep Guardiola out with his hood up, pointing with his right hand at the moment, as here is as Lewis. A chance for some of these players to impress the watching City manager, but Mahrez is caught by Acuna, and Acuna plays it forward to Isco, and Sevilla will play the ball back, and it remains 0-0. Here is Marcao. Oh, he stumbles inside the penalty area, seized upon by Mahrez. Mahrez squeezes it towards Cole Palmer with the aid of his deflection. Back with Gundogan. Out it goes towards that far side. It could be a long night for Sevilla, but they need to cut out the mistakes. They've already made 2. Grealish now coming into a central area, drifting in from the left, back towards Ruben Diaz, and Ruben Diaz will pass the ball to Mahrez. we could have rather strained necks in this first half as we look away towards our right.
Yeah, Sevilla have got all 11 players camped into a third of the pitch, their defensive third. City really comfortable, you know, like you were saying, Dano, the inverted fullbacks coming in, overloading the midfield.
Papu Gomez gets it across towards Mia. Now they can break the black shirts of Sevilla. Back towards Montiel. Papu Gomez gets a little touch, and now they pass the ball across the back, playing with three central defenders. Marcao, and now with Karim Rekic, you can easily forget with the players who've been churned out through Manchester City that he was actually here 11 years ago. He only made 3 appearances between 2011 and 2015. He had loan spells at Portsmouth, at Blackburn. He was sent abroad as well. A Dutch international, albeit his last cap was some 5 years ago. So back at the Etihad after making just a handful of appearances, Karim Rekic, the 27-year-old defender for Sevilla. Celtic lost earlier on. They were beaten 5-1 by Real Madrid, and Leipzig claimed that second place in Group F, beating Shakhtar Donetsk by 4-0. As trying to wriggle his way through on the left-hand side is Jack Grealish, and it will go out for a corner kick, but we'll nip to Stamford Bridge in Alistair Bruce ball.
6 minutes played, Chelsea 0, Dinamo Zagreb 0. The great noise you can hear is from the travelling fans, and they've just seen Bruno Petkovic head in from close range. So Dinamo Zagreb lead. Chelsea have already won this group, but having been beaten 4-1 by Brighton on Saturday, that is a terrible start. And if Zagreb can win the game, they'll then need Red Bull Salzburg to lose away to AC Milan, and they can finish third. Chelsea 0, Dinamo Zagreb 1.
And in the San Siro, it is Milan 0, Salzburg 0. I've seen a lot of Chelsea, and it's amazing how much Chelsea make slow starts under Graham Potter. That has been an early trait where they either take time to get going or they concede early, as they did actually at Brighton at the weekend. So Dinamo Zagreb are leading by 1-0. Chelsea, of course, like City, already through and confirmed as group winners as well. And Ali mentioned that game, Milan 0, Salzburg 0. Will keep you up to date. But in the Championship, it's Cardiff who lead Watford by 1-0, and Rotherham are leading at Turf Moor by 1-0 as well. We are available 5 Live final score via the iPlayer and the BBC Sport website. Good crowding, bearing in mind that the game is effectively a dead rubber. Yeah,
and considering the weather as well.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking of the fans when I was walking in, but no, I think this is City, you know, play some beautiful football and fans want to see it. And, you know, there's some young players out there tonight. Palmer, this lad on the ball, Rico Lewis, he's a quality player, potentially future of the club. So, yeah, it's good to see the fans out in their numbers.
Rico Lewis, who joined the academy at the age of 8. So that's what, almost 10 years ago now. Made his debut against Bournemouth back in August. Another one who's just starting to get valuable game time as that group of hardy souls from Seville. There must be no more than 100 trying to make themselves heard as Lewis bursts forward into the penalty area, goes to ground, but the Israeli referee says there is no free kick, and a nice little touch by Isco, and Acuna plays the ball inside, and maybe they can break now, but it's been given away by Rekic rather, and City are back in possession. Is he?
Yeah, a good tracking back from Riyad Mahrez. Beautiful little touch from Isco for Sevilla to get out of that defensive situation, and then Mahrez tracks his runner, wins the ball back for City.
Alvarez out to Grealish, far side to left, just in from the touchline, scoops the ball forward. Foden with the turn, one bounce out of play for a goal kick. We're going to keep it busy tonight on BBC Radio 5 Live. We'll go to Cardiff, Watford. Laura Kenyon.
Still Cardiff 1, Watford 0, but Watford probing. 3 shots in quick succession. Sarr, Pedro and Seema queuing up. Somehow Cardiff scrambled to clear their lines. A lively start. Cardiff 1, Watford 0.
Dinamo Zagreb are leading 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. It's 0-0 here, and it is going to be Bono, the 31-year-old goalkeeper. Hasn't played in the last 2 matches, but a Moroccan international So he'll have his eye on the World Cup, which of course is fast approaching. Clears it long, all in yellow in the pouring rain away towards our right-hand side, and now it's with Lewis, as Lewis drifts his way slowly but surely in towards the centre circle, and now across to that far side, and the ball played infield by Gomez. Gundogan, he's overhit that, out for a goal kick.
Very uncharacteristic from Ilkay Gundogan. Don't often see him misplacing passes, but just the way that City progressed the ball up the pitch, they just look to seek pressure, pull Sevilla out of their block, pull a defender out and then play around them so quickly. They're so used to teams blocking up against them, Man City, because of how good they are in possession.
Yeah, patience is going to be the watchword, I sense, tonight, as Alvarez gives the ball away. Papa Gomez will run out towards that far side. Goal in West Yorkshire, though, across the Pennines. Huddersfield, Sunderland in the Championship. Naz Premji.
Not a goal, a big chance. Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 0. Leon de Jaco it was, with a low drive after Lee Nichols spilled the initial shot. They went close, did Sunderland. It's Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 0.
Forever hopeful, Naz. There'll be one very, very soon, I would imagine, for Huddersfield, who are bottom of the Championship. We've got reporters at every game in the Championship tonight: Birmingham, Burnley, Cardiff, Huddersfield, Norwich, and Wigan. And of course, at the weekend as well, Leeds, Bournemouth. Our 3 o'clock commentary at Ellen Road, to be followed by Everton, Leicester City at 5:30, and 5 Live Premier League Sunday, Aston Villa, Manchester United, to be followed by Tottenham, Liverpool. So more live football to look forward to. City on the attack, the back heel by Foden, trying to play it in. Grealish didn't quite come off, and that Sevilla defence will get a throw deep inside that Sevilla half on that far side there, right, as they play from right to left. 12 minutes played and 0-0. Back it goes to the goalkeeper, who spreads it out towards Rekic. Rolls it back inside to Marcao, the Brazilian. At the minute, they're trying to beat the press, but they just keep going square at the back. You can sense the pressure that they're under.
Yeah, and they're also Sevilla, they're trying to play out of Man City's press. City are setting traps in the wide areas. But what I'm actually seeing from Sevilla is actually just poor technical accuracy on their passing. They can get out of the press if they actually pass the ball to each other properly. You know, they're putting balls into people tight with players on them. You know, they're bubbling the passes in. You just can't play out of a press if the passes aren't crisp and sharp.
Well, here is Marcao trying to run the ball away, and then he passes the ball in towards Thomas Delaney, experienced Danish international who arrived in the summer from Borussia Dortmund. Rakitic will now take over, and City now just drop off a little bit as Rakitic runs towards the midway point of the Sevilla half and spreads it out to Mir, the tall, lean striker. Ball didn't necessarily go with the 25-year-old Spanish centre forward, and in the end they have to go all the way back to Bono.
If there's one player who is technically accurate, is Ivan Rakitic. Seen him, you know, for Croatia and Barcelona. The form that he's been in his career has been, you know, stunning to watch, and he's kind of playing a little bit below his level, I'd say, with Sevilla at the moment, but you can just tell the difference already in the level of him as a player versus a few of the ones around him.
Back in his second spell at Sevilla, is Rekic is forward, takes it quite high on the chest, sends over a cross, and Ortega, in his luminous orange goalkeeping outfit, easily scooped up, and it remains 0-0 with 14 minutes played. Here is Ruben Dias. Now to Laporte. It's one of those occasions as well, particularly with the weather, where the crowd are just sitting there thinking, come on then, entertain us.
Yeah, and looking at the small cluster of Sevilla fans over there on our right, they seem to be in pretty good spirits, keeping themselves warm.
They've got a great anthem. If you've ever been to Sevilla, you'll know it. The centenary anthem. It is one of the great football anthems. If you've not been and you go to the beautiful city of Seville, taking a game at the Estadio Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, and just get in there before kick-off. The red and white scarves are being swirled around, and then that tune will stay in your head for the rest of the night. The rest of the night. I was fortunate to be there a couple of weeks ago. I watched a game against Valencia, And then I had this tune, it was doing my head in, but it's a great little ditty. I won't sing it for you, though, don't worry. Paris Saint-Germain are leading in Turin in Group H. Juventus 0, Paris Saint-Germain 1. So if it stays like that, Juventus will be out of Europe altogether. Maccabi Haifa, currently drawing with Benfica, would go into the Europa League. Paris Saint-Germain will be confirmed as group winners in Group H. Benfica, also on 11 points, would be one of the non-seeded sides. The draw, incidentally, is on Monday. All the news of that on Radio 5 in the morning. I think it's about 11 o'clock. Manchester City 0, Sevilla 0. Quarter of an hour played. And the referee isn't happy. AC Milan are leading Salzburg by a goal to 0. As in comes that free kick, and it's a flat one forward, and it was Ruben Dias who tried to get on the end of it. Outstretched right leg, guides the ball wide and out for a goal kick. Good chance for City.
Yeah, super ball in from Phil Foden on that far left-hand side for City. Whipped in with real pace. Ruben Dias, he almost, just watching him connect with the ball. He's connected with the ball with his hip, strangely. I feel like if he'd have perhaps attempted a dive in ahead of the ball, would have nestled off the slippy surface here at the Etihad, but really good ball in from Phil Foden.
Marcao is down at the moment, and he might be requiring a little bit of treatment. So, Ali, Milan are leading Salzburg in the San Siro. What's the latest at Stamford Bridge?
So that's good news for Dinamo Zagreb. If they win this one and Salzburg lose that one, then Dinamo Zagreb will be playing Europa League football after Christmas. They still lead 1-0. Chelsea have done very little in an attacking sense. Just seen a cross into the box from Havertz. It was a stretch for Sterling. He got a volley on it, but it was well off target. And Graham Potter is talking to the team all the time, trying to get the instructions across. They've not started particularly well. Chelsea 0, Dinamo Zagreb 1.
Thank you, Ali. So that's the latest in West London. Here in Manchester, where the rain has thankfully relented. Not that we're getting wet here in the commentary position. It's still 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live. And into the Championship, we'll not go too far away. Wigan, Stoke City, Chris Coles.
It's 0-0, 30 fairly uneventful minutes. Perhaps not a surprise given the form of both sides. Stoke have seen plenty of the ball, but the best openings carved out by Wigan. A Max Power shot from distance, brushing the post, and James McLean's teasing ball in, missed by everyone and only just dropping wide. But we haven't had much to shout about here. Wigan 0, Stoke 0.
Thanks, Chris. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. It's a night where we're combining the Champions League and the Championship, and we're going back to Stamford Bridge. There's been another goal. Ali.
Equaliser for Chelsea. Raheem Sterling's been due one, his first in 9 games. Clever little back heel from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I thought it was going to be cleared. Dinamo Zagreb couldn't get it away. Sterling picked it up, little jink, and a low finish into the bottom corner. Chelsea 1, Dinamo Zagreb 1.
Yeah, his last goal was actually against Salzburg in mid-September for Raheem Sterling, who's been played at times a little bit out of position. We'll see him here, maybe against his former club next Wednesday, as Ortega comes racing out of his penalty area, and all of a sudden now City might be able to attack with Foden, who's over the halfway line, plays the ball forward towards Grealish, level with the penalty area left-hand side. Grealish shows his strength, enters the penalty area, cuts the ball back. Here is Foden, down into the ground it goes, left-footed, saved by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, rapid counter-attack from Man City. That all came from Ortega. Long ball from Isco off that quick free kick, looking for his striker, Rafa Mir. And Ortega looked like he was going to come out and claim it with his hands, out of his area, by the way, chests it down, fizzes it into the path of Grealish, ends up with a shot on target. Was it Foden with a shot on target? Yeah, Phil Foden, deflected shot on target, but super counter-attack from Man City.
Rakitic for Sevilla. It still remains 0-0. That's the voice of Izzy Christiansen here on BBC Radio 5 Live as Delaney takes over. Rafa Mir keeps on staying out wide on that right-hand side. They keep looking for the diagonal balls. He's running forward now, and he produces a save from Ortega. Carried the run into the penalty area. It was a low effort, and Ortega, low down towards his right, with a strong right arm, made the save. But he keeps drifting out towards that far side. Yeah,
it's a tactic. They're looking for him every time the midfielders get on the half-turn. They're looking for that fizz diag into the path of Rafa Mir, obviously exploiting Sergio Gomez at left-back for Man City. It's working so far.
If you heard a little bit of noise in the background when Izzy was talking, that was because we've got a Spanish commentator not too far away from Izzy, who was certainly, I think it's fair to say, a shade more excited than we were.
Yep, obviously looking for some success any team that's going to come here to the Etihad and try and get a result, and if you do get a result, it's a big achievement. So I can completely understand the enthusiasm.
They've only ever had one victory in England, and that was just across the city at Old Trafford. Manchester United in 17-18 when they won by 2-1, but they've got some defending to do here. It's 0-0. You're listening to 5 Live. It's a corner kick to Manchester City, headed out by Marcao, comes out to Rico Lewis, who hits it. That wasn't too far away off his right foot. Good 25 yards out, probably swerved away from goal. Not a bad effort from the young man.
Yeah, it's a super strike. Everyone in the stadium here screaming at him when the ball dropped on the edge to take a touch and shoot. It's what he's done. I'm just watching the replay now. Super strike, yeah, way off target, but the strike was beautiful, the way it sort of dipped a couple of metres to the left, and that would have nestled.
Certainly showed confidence for him to even try it, as they try and play out Sevilla from the short goal kick with the press, and that's gone out of play. Rekic unable to keep the ball in play, and it'll be a City throw. We'll go back to Burnley, Rotherham and Lee Blakeman.
Burnley 0, Rotherham 1. Burnley dominating possession, and they've just gone close to an equaliser, but here come Rotherham from the edge of the area. Good save by Muric in the Burnley goal. It was the other goalkeeper down the other end, Johansson, who's just made a good save to keep out Goodmanson for Burnley. Lively game, 10 to go until the break. Burnley 0, Rotherham 1.
Here is Cole Palmer over the halfway line for Manchester City, running forward. Short, fair hair. Mahrez on this near right touchline, comes inside now. Maccabi Haifa 0, Benfica 1. So both the two top teams in Group H are leading. Paris Saint-Germain in Turin and Benfica in Israel, and so it means that Juventus would still be in Europe, albeit the Europa League, unless Maccabi Haifa can get something against Benfica. And Paris Saint-Germain would go and join Manchester City, Real Madrid, Chelsea, Tottenham, Bayern, Porto and Napoli amongst the top seeds for Monday's draw. Still goalless then here at the Etihad. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. We're almost midway through the first half. It was a lively old game, that, you know, that Valencia match. There was 12 yellow cards, including one for the Sevilla manager. Cavani scored an early header for Valencia as they went 1-0 up. Papu Gomez is then wrongly sent off. VAR brought him back onto the pitch as Acuna sends over a cross. Mir with the header, and it just drops wide for Sevilla. Out for a goal kick, 0-0. And then Quique Salas was then sent off. A penalty awarded. VAR, as a paying spectator, you didn't have a clue what was going on, so it's not just in this country. Penalty saved, and it finishes 1-1.
That is Ian Dennis commentating on two matches at once, yeah. Which say men can't multitask, but they can.
Well, yeah, you need to speak to my wife. Apart from that, nothing happened, but something has happened elsewhere, and it is at Burnley. Lee Blakeman.
Burnley 1, Rotherham 1. Ball into the penalty area. Teller got there on the byline, pulled it into the 6 yards area, and Rodriguez nodded home for his 9th of the season from no more than a yard out. Burnley level, it's 1-1.
Another goal in the Championship, Cardiff, Laura Kenyon.
And it's another equaliser. Cardiff 1, Watford 1. The playoff chasers back on level terms. It's been coming. Francisco Cialata, back post header, almost an exact replica of the Cardiff goal. 1-1.
Back-to-back wins for Watford before that trip to South Wales, and a win tonight would take them into the playoff spots, into the Championship, as Manchester City here against Sevilla 0-0. Chelsea have equalised 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, as we know, and Manchester City now with Ruben Dias out to Mahrez. Sky blue short sleeve shirt, but wearing gloves. Despite the rain, it is still feeling quite mild. As here is Mahrez. Mahrez now trying to get in between two defenders, but no way through the stocky figure of Acuna, and it goes out for a throw that Mahrez will take and back towards Rico Lewis. I often think as well, Izzy, that when you look at managers, you can gauge whether the manager's happy or not, and at the minute he looks quite relaxed and quite calm, Pep Guardiola.
It does, but a couple of minutes earlier he was, frustrated. I can tell he's frustrated about something. I'm trying to figure out what it is and where he's directing his information to. It looks like it's Riyad Mahrez at the moment, who's struggling to get past his fullback Acuna and Rekic on that left-hand side of the Sevillan defence, but he seems frustrated a little bit, Pep.
Yeah, and I think you're right, it was towards Mahrez, as at the minute we watch City attack on that far side, the left, and it's with Jack Grealish, who passes the ball to Rico Lewis in a central area, less than 30 yards out from goal. Ruben Dias now curls the ball high into the air. Gomez with the delivery, and attacked by the bald-headed and bearded defender Marcao, who heads it away. Copenhagen 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. Copenhagen, who are yet to win in the Champions League, have fallen behind there at home in this, of course, Manchester City's group, as the rain has returned and Foden into the path of Grealish. First time cross, Mahrez just beaten to it by Acuna. Flick header then by Gundogan and headed away by Delaney. And those black shirts are trying to keep City at bay. But here is Gomez once more with a dropping ball just over the head of Alvarez. And Acuna will let it settle, and the left wing back will hoist it high downfield. The trouble is, there's nobody there. It's going to keep coming back. Yeah, there isn't, but I'm just watching the way that City are building up, and their best moments are actually coming from transitions. They're not really coming from design, they're coming from when the ball drops and they're picking it up, and Sevilla are out of their shape, which at the moment is staying pretty, disciplined and firm in terms of stifling the space that Man City want to exploit, which is in these sort of pocket areas where we see Cole Palmer right now. Just look, the Sevilla are 4 players against 2 City players in each wide area. City just can't get through them, getting really frustrated. I think that's what Guardiola's frustration is. There's not enough creativity and movement off the ball to pull the Sevilla players out of position. Well, Rico Lewis was looking for a forward ball towards Mahrez, headed away by Acuna. Isco plays it back to Rekic, and then they go all the way back towards their goalkeeper, who he slipped. He got the ball away, but only as far as Grealish. That was rather awkward for Bono. And now it's with Gundogan on the edge of the area. Lovely little ball to Foden, back towards Gundogan and into the side netting. But in fact, it took a deflection on its way through. That would have been a delightful goal. It was lovely football by City. It's a corner kick. Yeah, that bit of creativity the game needed was right there from Ilkay Gundogan, driving at the Sevillan defence, taking it through. A really sharp 1-2 with Phil Foden, gives it back to Ilkay Gundogan into his path, and good save by the goalkeeper. Should have been a goal from Gundogan there. Corner kick, floated over. Mahrez on the volley, left-footed, and he skied that, and it will be a goal kick. Maccabi Haifa have equalised. Maccabi Haifa 1, Benfica 1. It means that Maccabi Haifa could qualify for the Europa League. That's where maybe the interest is going to come from in the Champions League tonight. If that would have led from a goal from that mistake by Bono, I think it's fair to say it wouldn't have been a beautiful day for him, would it? No, and I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not very nice of me, but the way he tried to clear that ball, it was very strange, right into the path of Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, he actually was kind to the goalkeeper in that he didn't punish him straight away. Shake of the head from the engineer. I don't think he liked the Bono reference there. What about Chris Coles watching Wigan Stoke? I loved it. More of the same, please. It's 0-0. We've seen the best moment of what's been a quiet game so far. Will Keane heading over from 6 yards out. Great ball in from the right-hand side. And Keane, 6 goals to his name. I think he'd like that one back. 4 to play until half-time. Wigan 0, Stoke 0. We might have to work in mysterious ways. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. We're approaching the half hour. It's 0-0. Told you tonight I was going to enjoy myself. Here is Rico Lewis just outside the centre circle. Cole Palmer plays it back. Every outfield player is in the right-hand side of the half as Diaz's ball is headed away by Marcao. And then Rekic will turn and go back to Bono, and he keeps his feet on this occasion, and he chips the ball out towards Montiel. Montiel plays it on the inside and now towards Rakitic. They've got the Seville derby this weekend. They're away to Real Betis, who are actually doing very, very well in Spain. Talk about Liverpool dropping off this season and their form from where they were. Sevilla finished 4th last year and they're now 3rd from bottom in a real relegation fight. So it's been a massive turn of events and a real shock to the Sevilla supporters, but it remains goalless. 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, and we'll go to St Andrews in the Championship. Birmingham Millwall, John Akers. 4 minutes to half-time. Birmingham 0, Millwall 0. The Birmingham XG, if you're into that kind of thing, 0.03. The Millwall 0.04. I'm not sure how they're that high. Birmingham 0, Millwall 0. Thank you, John. On the attack, Sevilla. Mia plays the ball back out towards that far side, towards Delaney. And Sevilla get a corner kick. Let's see what they can do from a set piece, Izzy.
Yeah, good play from Sevilla, working it down that right-hand side. Short, sharp, then opting for the passing the way through Man City rather than the long ball, resulting in a corner. It's a good move by them.
It was. And it's Isco who's going to take it on that far side, the left, as they play from right to left. Should be an outswinger, and it comes now from Isco, and a free header, and it's in. Rafa Mir has scored. The tall striker, unmarked, header back across goal, and Manchester City are behind, and Sevilla lead by 1-0.
It's a super header, back across goal. The tallest guy in the box, outswinging corner to the back post. And Rafa Mir's just headed the ball perfectly back across the face of the goal. It's one of those ones where the keeper just stands still, can't do anything about it. It was so smooth the way the ball moved its way into that far corner.
How much space was he given?
Yeah, it's completely unmarked at the back post. It's really poor for Manchester City, but like I say, taking nothing away. That's a superb header.
Rafa Mir has scored his second goal of the season. Was at Wolves for actually a time, only 4 appearances during his time there, but Rafa Mir has scored, and Sevilla lead by 1-0. As we go to Stamford Bridge, Chelsea Dinamo Zagreb, Alistair Bruce Ball.
Chelsea in front. Denis Zakaria, the Swiss international defensive midfielder, has scored on his Chelsea debut, first appearance for the club tonight. Mason Mount's cutback fell into his path, low shot heading for the bottom corner, so nearly blocked on the line. It was on target. I think the goal will be his. It went in off Sadeh Mahrami, but Zakaria with a huge smile on his face, and Chelsea in front. Chelsea 2, Dinamo Zagreb 1.
I was wondering if he was going to feature tonight, because he's been on the bench something like 9 times and not been used by either Tuchel or indeed Graham Potter, so he's had to certainly bide his time, and he's now put Chelsea 2-1 up in the Champions League, whereas here at the Etihad, Sevilla, who've only won once before, we said, in England, in 9 attempts, they've drawn 4 and lost 4 of the other 8, aside from that victory at Old Trafford, with a header from Rafa Mir, and they are 1-0 up, and we've been playing for nearly 33 minutes. Half-time in the Championship at Carrow Road. Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Norwich 0, QPR 0, a half of quality saves here, Ian. Both Angus Gunn and Seny Dieng have put on a goalkeeping workshop. First, Dieng saving well from Gabriel Sara before Teemu Pukki's drilled effort was kept out. Ilias Chair's place strike was then acrobatically kept up by Gunn. Pukki then thought he'd scored, but his shot rebounded off the inside of the post before Tim Irobenham forced to save low down at his near post by Angus Gunn. Rain swirling around here in Norfolk, loads of action, no goals. Norwich 0, QPR 0.
Just had the one here so far, and it is to the Spanish side that will certainly give them a boost ahead of the Seville derby at the weekend. They, like Manchester City, making 7 changes for this game, as here is Ruben Dias in the centre circle for the sky blue shirts of Manchester City, but everybody back behind the ball. And now City hit it long with Ortega, headed away by Montiel. Mir back there on defensive duties, and the referee has blown his whistle, and there was a foul on Mir. And so we'll go back to another of the games in the Championship. Half-time this time at Cardiff. Laura Kenyon.
Yeah, Cardiff 1, Watford 1. 2 centre-halves, 2 goals, both headed home at the back post from corners. Cedric Kipri for Cardiff, Francisco Ciralta for Watford. Fair to say, since going a goal down, Watford have dominated open play. The quality of Ismail Assar on full display on this near side. Watford looking for a 4th win in 5, but at half-time it's Cardiff 1, Watford 1.
Thank you, Laura. Here is Marcao, central defender to Rakitic. A nice, steady, gentle pace from Sevilla. Papu Gomez plays the ball forward, and then it's back once more with Carmona. Marcao to Isco on this near side, the left. Little flick back there with the right foot. Isco with his short dark hair and full thick black beard passes the ball all the way back then to Bono, all in yellow. And all of a sudden Manchester City have just dropped off there, Sevilla, as Bono's outside of his penalty area. Comes back to him again. done wonders for their confidence, the goal.
Yeah, just thinking that they're happy playing now, Sevilla. They've dropped Man City off. Isco starting to pull a few strings, dictating play, keeping possession, frustrating Man City.
Half-time at Wigan now. Chris Cole.
0-0 with Stoke, not a surprise. These are two teams low on confidence, and it's showing, tentative, cagey, lacking any real quality. The opportunities, half chances at best. Will Keane's header for Wigan over the bar. Dwight Gale, likewise for Stoke, glancing across off target. At least the rain has relented, because there's not much else to be cheerful about at the break. Wigan 0, Stoke 0.
Marcao almost showing too much of the ball to Cole Palmer. They play the ball to Rakitic, and that bypasses the goalkeeper, all in yellow, as he drops back a little bit further into his own penalty area. And City's press is causing some problems here as Bono eventually digs it out, despite the sliding Alvarez, but it goes out of play for a throw.
Yeah, Bono's been used a lot in the way that Sevilla are playing out, but his distribution is everything but convincing. You know, his first touch is a little bit shaky, you know, and Alvarez has pounced on him every time, recognised that's an area where he might be able to get a free goal. Just going back to your Bono references, Dano, like, they're going straight through my head. They're wasted on me.
Don't worry. You need to worry if I start on Deacon Blue. If I start on Deacon Blue, I'll be here all night. I'll give you their entire back catalogue. 9 minutes to go to half-time. Sevilla lead by 1-0. Half-time at St Andrews, Birmingham Millwall. John Akers.
Cool, that was bad. Birmingham 0, Millwall 0. One effort on target. Jake Cooper, a header from a corner, saved. That's it. Birmingham 0, Millwall 0.
I'm not starting on Michael Jackson. Don't worry about that, John. 5 live. Ball hit forward by Laporte. Out towards that far side. Downward header. Montiel then plays it back across to Carmona. The young defender, actually, that Valencia game that I watched a fortnight ago, he was hooked after about 31 minutes. And Jesus Navas, who's back at Sevilla, a former Manchester City player, props up the right-hand side for Sevilla, came on as a right-back that day. As we're going to go back to Huddersfield in half-time. Naz Premji.
Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 0. Plenty of effort and endeavour from both sides, but the weather absolutely awful, making conditions very, very difficult here. One note, Yuta Nakayama stretched off on the stroke of half-time after colliding with his own player. Really unfortunate for the Japan international. Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 0.
Manchester City are losing here by 1-0. They're unbeaten in 22 at home in European competitions since a 2-1 defeat to Lyon in the 2018-2019 campaign. They've won 20 and drawn 2 of their 22 matches. Lyon, of course, you've got fond memories of, haven't you, in your time in France?
Yeah.
The winner, indeed, of the Champions League.
Yeah, and I actually was at that game when they beat Man City. It was just fascinating. It was a great game, great atmosphere inside the stadium.
Yeah, since then they've won 14 of their last 15, including in that run. But they're behind here. So those who are looking to try and impress Pep Guardiola have got a little bit more work to do. They have had chances. Ruben Dias running in, as he said, it struck his hip, and there was also that effort from Cole Palmer. But only 3 teams this season have stopped City from scoring. In fact, they've failed to score all away from home. Copenhagen, Liverpool and Borussia Dortmund last week when we were in Germany. Half-time now at Turf Moor. Burnley Rotherham. Lee Blakeman.
Burnley 1, Rotherham 1. A tale of 2 headers this game. Rotherham captain Ben Wiles opening the scoring with one after just over 2 minutes. Jay Rodriguez equalising with another 10 minutes before the break. Teller got the assist for that. He's had a shot cleared off the line, another go just wide, and both keepers have had bits to do too in what's been a decent watch, to be fair, here at Turf Moor. Half-time, Burnley 1, Rotherham 1.
Grealish going the long way around into the centre circle, out towards Mahrez. Acuna slides in, commits himself, and Mahrez now looks to try and get away. Isco's on the cover, but he dances over his challenge towards the byline, delivers the cross, and Bono's lost it. Played back on that far side by Alvarez, fired back in by Gomez, partially cleared. Papu Gomez then can only touch the ball towards Sergio Gomez, and then there was a foul there by Grealish, and Sevilla will get a free kick. And there's a clap of the hands almost at head height from Pep Guardiola, who seems a little bit better with that passage of play. Yeah,
I think he's pleased at the fact that Mahrez has finally managed to get past his full-back, creating that chance again. Bono questionable goalkeeping, going out for that cross. It was nowhere near, creating a bit of havoc inside that 18-yard box, and City, that ball could have ended up anywhere, really, couldn't it? But Sevilla rebuild again, playing out from the back, like you said, gaining a little bit of confidence.
When you talk about the atmosphere for that game against Lyon and how it was incredible, I'm not sure what your abiding memory of tonight will be, if anything, but it certainly won't be of the atmosphere unless you're in one of the right in the heart of those 100 Sevilla supporters in the red and white, whose scarves are being swirled around their heads as they stand in the rain as their side lead by 1-0. You don't have to answer that question as well.
My mind was thinking back to the start of the game where the names were announced on the pitch with the laser.
Yes.
And your nightclub references, and I was wondering what type of clubs did you go to?
Well, I haven't got many abiding memories of going clubbing with Mark Chapman, I can tell you. Although, if you're working with him next week, then I'm more than happy to tell you a few tales off mic, shall we say. Here is Diaz for Manchester City, still trailing by 1-0. Cole Palmer curls it in, comes out towards Grealish. His shot is blocked by Rakitic, and it rebounds out towards that far side, and Montiel will chip the ball away towards Sevilla. Juventus have equalised. Juventus won, Paris Saint-Germain won. It's a case of as you were as far as Group H is concerned. It means that Juventus will qualify for the Europa League as things stand. Maccabi Haifa won, Benfica won is the other latest score in that group. BBC Radio 5 Live. The Rugby Union Women's World Cup is at the semi-final stage at the weekend. We've got back-to-back games on Saturday. England-Canada at 3:30, if you want to set your alarm, and to be followed by New Zealand-France at 6:30, both live on BBC Radio 5 Live. As we edge our way towards half-time, and this now is with Grealish. Grealish, no way through. We've got Rakitic in front of him. Copenhagen have equalised in City's group. Copenhagen 1, Borussia Dortmund 1 is a latest score in Group G. Out towards Sergio Gomez on that far side, hooked away by Montiel. Running forward then is Laporte, and City have the ball back with Sergio Gomez. Inside now to Foden, central area, flat ball, pinged out towards this right-hand side, down by the byline. Mahrez controls it, back edge of the area. Rico Lewis sends over across towards the far post, a little bit too deep. And the way it's arcing, it actually won't go out of play for a goal kick. It'll be a Sevilla throw by the corner flag.
Yeah,
Izzy Christensen.
Sevilla doing really well, implementing this game plan, blocking, back five, 3 or 4 in front, lone striker. They're doing it really well and stifling Man City. Pep Guardiola, you can see him on the touchline in front of us here, getting increasingly frustrated with the way they're playing. And just thinking to the players I was excited to watch tonight, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Rico Lewis, they've been really quiet, especially Cole Palmer and Foden. They've not been in the game much at all, and you know, it's a frustrating game, and I feel a little bit for Alvarez as well, playing in that 9 role. You're just completely out of all of the build-up. You're not involved at all. That's why Haaland plays that role so well, because he just waits and waits and waits, and then pounces when the ball finally arrives into the box and normally hits the back of the net. But frustrating night, for the strikers of City, and I'd like to see Cole Palmer in the game a little bit more.
Well, he is here tonight, Erling Haaland, and they're hoping that he'll be playing against Fulham at the weekend. And then they've got Chelsea at home and Brentford at home, so a run of 4 matches in succession at the Etihad. But on the bench they do have Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva as attacking options to try and change things, along with Stones, Ake, Cancelo, Rodri and young Joshua Wilson-Brand. But Sevilla lead by 1-0, and we've just got 60 seconds remaining of normal time, and now Marcao has just gone down. He did pick up a knock earlier in the half, so whether that has returned, a recurring problem for the Brazilian defender, who they signed in the summer from Galatasaray, but whether he's able to continue. And of course, from defensive reinforcements on the bench, well, Alex Telles is one, Nemanja Gudel is another. He can play either defensive midfielder or a central defender, and they have also got Quique Salas, who's a young defender who might potentially come on for Sampaoli, their Argentine coach, as Marcao is getting treatment, and we've got about 30 seconds remaining, and in fact it is Goudel who is going to be coming on. So Nemanja Goudel is getting stripped, and Marcao is going to be unable to continue, it would seem, as the 45 minutes are up, and Sevilla are leading still by a 1-0. He just seemed to stretch for it, didn't he?
Yeah, it was when the ball was played back over. He had the run of Alvarez behind him chasing the ball. He's forced to play it back to his goalkeeper, and it was just on that moment he pulled up. Yes, he's holding his hamstring, but never nice to see a player having to leave the pitch early.
So Marcao is coming off, and Nemanja Goudel, who's got 48 caps for Serbia. It's his 4th season at the club. He actually only scored his first goal for Sevilla this season against Mallorca. So Goudel comes on, and he's quite accomplished to play in that defensive role for Sevilla, as we are into 2 minutes of added on time here at the Etihad on BBC Radio 5 Live. Manchester City 0, Sevilla 1. Manchester City 8 straight wins at home, but behind. Cole Palmer, right corner of the area, out to Grealish, controls the ball, fires it in towards the near post, beaten out by Bono. Sergio Gomez then flashes it left-footed edge of the area, and that travels across the face of goal and out for a goal kick, and Sevilla still lead.
Yeah, there we go, Cole Palmer getting involved in the game. A beautiful ball drifted over from this right-hand side into the path of Grealish, who takes a touch. Sevilla players and the fans, a small section of them, screaming for handball, but I think it was off Jack Grealish's chest, the way he's controlled the ball, fizzed it across, and that second rebound ball from Sergio Gomez, a beautiful left-footed strike, just going away from goal, but yeah, he connected with it really well, didn't he?
He certainly did. Just a shame it was off target, so in stoppage time here. If you've noticed, actually, to City's recent home form, as Mir is sent away for Sevilla, that's hooked away by Laporte. Manchester City have scored 18 goals in their last 4 games at home, as Montiel hooks it away in front of his onrushing goalkeeper out of his penalty area, with Grealish putting pressure. So they scored 6 against Manchester United, only 5 then against Copenhagen, 4 against Southampton, as a cross delivered from the left-hand side is diverted behind, 3 against Brighton. So we've gone 6-5, 4-3. So for that sequence to continue, City are going to come from behind and win 2-1.
That would look good on your notepad, wouldn't it?
You're probably thinking, what a nerd I'm working with now, as I look for little sequences as the corner comes in from that far side, and it's headed out by Goudel. Means then that by the nature of that, they're only going to score 1 against Fulham at the weekend. But they haven't scored here in the first half at the Etihad, and it's the half-time in the Champions League, and it's a headed goal, an unmarked header by Mir after 31 minutes from Isco's corner on the right-hand side. City have created a couple of chances, the best of which fell to Cole Palmer. But what do you think the message from Pep Guardiola will be, Izzy?
Speed up the play, be quicker with decision-making, you know. It's difficult when a team blocks, I get it. I've been at a lot of games here at the Etihad watching, commentating or watching, and you know, teams bank up against City because it's the only way to defend them, but City have got to be more creative, more dynamic in their movement across the front three especially. But just to note, with City's, you know, you're talking about momentum in this competition, they don't want to lose here tonight. They really do not want to lose here. We've seen it a couple of years ago with City in the Champions League. You know, they've thrown a couple of group games and then it stifled their momentum in the knockouts, and I'm a big believer in momentum and how that can affect the team moving forward. So I don't think Pep Guardiola will be very happy at all.
Well, at the minute they've got some work to do. They are trailing at half-time, Mark. It's Manchester City 0, Sevilla 1.
Are you coming back for the second half, Izzy? Can you put up with him for another 45?
I think we can, just about, yeah, just about.
Don't worry, me and Izzy have been getting on terrific tonight. I think you need to worry.
Yeah, I am worried, actually. Alistair Bruce Ball at Stamford Bridge, who at 8:10 sent me a WhatsApp message. I'm looking forward to a stream of Ian Dennis's U2 gags. Have you been impressed?
He's not let me down. He's not let me down. We were doing James Bond a few weeks ago. I've got to say, I'm not quite so good on the U2 and the Deacon Blue, so I'm going to leave those to Ian Dennis tonight. Do you want to know what's been going on here?
Yes, please.
Good. Chelsea 2, Dinamo Zagreb 1 at half-time. As we know, before the start of this game, Chelsea had already won this group. Sluggish start from them, and Graham Potter, the manager, very agitated in the first 15 minutes, constantly barking instructions across the field to try and get his team to do what he wanted. 7 changes made to the starting lineup tonight after the 4-1 defeat at Brighton on Saturday. They were behind after 7 minutes. Cross came in from the right. It actually bounced off Azpilicueta's head. He didn't know where it had gone, and Petkovic headed in from close range. Edouard Mendy didn't have a chance. Chelsea finally clicked into gear after about 15 minutes. Raheem Sterling scored in the 18th minute. Little back heel from Aubameyang. Sterling worked it well onto his left foot, passed it into the bottom corner. Then came another couple of chances which Chelsea weren't able to take, and they got themselves in front just after the half-hour mark. Denis Zakaria, the Swiss international, on his long-awaited debut for Chelsea. Powerful right-footed shot after a Mason Mount cutback, very nearly blocked on the line by Mahrami for Dinamo Zagreb, but it just got away from him, crossed the goal line, and that gave Zakaria his debut goal. So Chelsea leading Dinamo Zagreb by 2-1. Not good news for the visitors, of course, because they need a win and they need Salzburg to lose away to AC Milan if they're going to finish third in this group.
And Salzburg are losing at the moment by a 0-0 against AC Milan. Asmir Begovic watching all the games with us this evening. There'll be a sense of relief around Chelsea and Stamford Bridge, won't they, after the start they made?
Yeah, they certainly will. I mean, we spoke about before the game how they wanted to put things right again, get the bad taste out of their mouths from the defeat against Brighton, and it didn't start off too well, but they really grabbed control of the game after the first 10 minutes or so, and deservedly lead 2-1 at halftime.
I know you are watching all the other games. Mbappe's goal was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mbappe is showing his quality again. I think it's been a very entertaining game as well. Juve making a very good game out of it. Obviously, it's still desperately trying to stay in European football after tonight. So they're making a good game out of it, and it's been very entertaining.
Let's get details of that. Juventus 1, Paris Saint-Germain 1. Maz Faruqi watching all the other games in the Champions League for us this evening. Maz?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with that AC Milan result at the moment, or at half-time mark. AC Milan 1, Salzburg 0. Milan only needing the draw, Salzburg needing the win to go through to the last 16, the other spot from Chelsea's group. Milan struggling defensively at times this season, but doing what they need to do at the moment. Olivier Giroud with the header from a corner, which wasn't picked up 15 minutes in. And their boss, Stefano Pioli, criticised at the weekend AC Milan for subbing their top scorer, Rafael Leao, at half-time in their defeat at Torino, potentially resting players ahead of tonight, but that gamble seems to have paid off. He started tonight, as is Giroud, the goal scorer. So Pioli's certainly on paper not looking like he's relying on the draw. Team selection for AC Milan seeming to work at the moment.
And elsewhere, the Paris Saint-Germain Benfica group, which is the one which we'll look at. I spoke to Asmir then about the Paris Saint-Germain Juventus game, but Paris Saint-Germain and Benfica both trying to top their group.
Yeah, a reminder that the two teams that will be in the last 16 from this group, so PSG and Benfica, it's goal difference that will decide who finishes top after points, because their results from direct meetings up to now are the same. Both sides, they're only drawing 1-1. PSG against Juventus, we mentioned that great Mbappe goal for that game that put PSG ahead. Same scoreline between Maccabi Haifa and Benfica, so PSG still with a +4 better goal difference at the moment, going through as the group winners and the seeded team in the last 16.
And the games that have got nothing on them?
Well, we'll talk about the other early games in the Dortmund score. Copenhagen drawing level against Dortmund a couple of minutes before half-time, 1-1 in that one. We mentioned earlier Leipzig taking last spot in the last 16 behind Real Madrid, beating Shakhtar Donetsk 4-0 in Poland. And that defeat for Shakhtar means they finished third, above Celtic, though, who missed a first-half penalty against Real Madrid to lose that game 5-1. So Celtic finishing bottom of that group.
Thank you, Maz. You're up to date with all the Champions League games in the Championship this evening. Only 2 games have got, there are 6 in total, but only 2 games have got goals in them. Burnley 1, Rotherham 1 and Cardiff 1, Watford 1. All the others are goalless, as is the only game in the Scottish Women's Premier League this evening between Partick Thistle and Motherwell, and that has reached the half-time break. 6 minutes to 9. This is 5 Live. Richard Foster has your news.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Opposition parties have accused Rishi Sunak of a screeching U-turn after he announced he would be joining world leaders at next week's COP27 climate summit in Egypt. Last week, the Prime Minister said he wanted to concentrate on the autumn statement here instead. Our political editor Chris Mason has more.
Well, he reckons he's got time now. He thinks that enough progress is being made with that budget coming up in a fortnight for him to have space in his diary for a quick dash to Egypt and back for this summit. He told MPs at lunchtime there is no long-term prosperity without action on climate change and no energy security without investment in renewables.
Albania's Prime Minister says the UK should stop discriminating against his country's people to excuse policy failures. Eddie Rama says blaming Albanians for the UK's crime and border problems ignores the facts. Albanians make up the biggest group of those crossing the channel in small boats. A serving police constable and a former officer have been jailed for sharing racist and sexist messages with the killer of Sarah Everard. Jonathan Cobban and Joel Borders were part of a WhatsApp group with Wayne Couzens. They were sentenced to 12 weeks and bailed pending an appeal. Another £615 million worth of government cuts have been outlined by the Scottish Government. The Finance Minister John Swinney has announced an emergency spending review and says tax rises and eye-watering spending reductions are now needed.
There has never been a time of greater pressure on the public finances. Inflation means that our annual budget today is worth £1.7 billion less than when it was published last December. At the same time, demand for government support and intervention is understandably increasing.
The United States Central Bank has approved another sharp increase in interest rates as it tries to rein in fast rising prices. The Federal Reserve says it's raising its key rate by 0.75%. And Royal Mail workers have announced 2 more 48-hour strikes at the end of the month in their long-running dispute over pay and working conditions. The action coincides with the Black Friday shopping sales.
The way Carly acted told me she'd had it tough.
I can't do this.
If hunger didn't keep her up, the cold did.
I've got to try.
She was always angry, and that's all she knew. Until I found her an outlet. Now look at her.
Yes!
Right now, it's tougher than ever for too many kids. But Children in Need help project workers like me turn young lives around. BBC Children in Need. We're there for you.
This is 5 Live, your football station.
The UEFA Champions League.
With Mark Chapman.
We will be back at Manchester City shortly. They trail Sevilla by 1-0. Chelsea lead Dinamo Zagreb by 2-1. Earlier it finished Real Madrid 5, Celtic 1 as regards the British sides in Champions League action this evening. 6 games in the Championship, not many goals around. It's goalless at Carrow Road. Aaron Paul.
Absolutely, it is Norwich 0, QPR 0. Back underway for the second half here, Mark. Don't forget, a win takes QPR's second victory for Norwich, takes them above Rangers, and it's been a rocky, eventful affair. The first half, an education in goalkeeping by both Angus Gunn and Seny Dieng. And Dieng, of course, challenging for the #1 spot for Senegal at the World Cup in a couple of weeks' time, has just pulled off another cracking save. Tom Campbell with a long-range effort. The ironic cheers were already coming from the far side on the QPR fans, but Dieng had to be alert just to tip it over. And I tell you what, that's the first time I've heard Todd Campbell's name sung here at Carrow Road in a very, very long time. He's put on a bit of a masterclass tonight. He's dictating the way Norwich play. There's got to be a goal soon. Please, pray for me. Norwich 0, QPR 0.
Chris Coles, we weren't holding out much hope, were we?
We weren't, Mark, no. The first half was very much a case of hate to say I told you so. What, not a classic. Not that it was the most outlandish of predictions, fair enough. 4 straight defeats for Wigan, 3 for Stoke. A first half of few chances. But, Mark, encouraging start to the second. Jordan Cousins bending a long-range shot just wide for Wigan. Stoke have just come close through Wigan defender Curtis Tilt, actually very close to inadvertently turning across into his own net. And just a few moments ago, Jacob Brown's right foot shot really well kept out by the feet of Jamie Jones in the Wigan goal. So we may yet see a goal if both teams can keep this sort of attacking endeavour going, but none so far. 10 minutes into the second half, Wigan 0, Stoke 0.
Next, Huddersfield, Sunderland. As Premji, is your game encouraging?
Yes, it's all right. The weather's not great. Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 0. Dragged back from Jack Redoney on the edge of the area, which was sumptuous, really was. He bamboozled the Sunderland defender trying to get the ball and then fired the ball low, just past the right-hand upright. The best moment of the game so far, former Huddersfield man in Sunderland colours, Alex Pritchard, slipping on the turf. Ironic cheers from the home crowd. Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 0.
Laura Kenyon, you've got goals.
I do. Cardiff 1, Watford 1, and we've just seen a lovely bit of skill from Cardiff winger Jayden Philogene on the far side, took on 3 Watford players, got his shot off, and a good save from Daniel Bachmann in the Watford goal. Fast start to the second half, but what's got the loudest cheer so far, chappers? A fan in the crowd heading a sky-high clearance back onto the pitch. 1-0.
Back to the 0-0s, John Akers.
Oh, I think I've got the worst one, or the best one, depending on which way you look at it. Millwall 0-0 here with Birmingham. We are 10 minutes into the second half. Very little has happened in terms of goal mouth action. Birmingham look a little tired. Millwall are very well organised. Hannibal's just had a free kick over from 20 yards. Good run by Chong. Hannibal, they call him the Tunisian Robbie Savage. That's about as much as I've smiled since I've been here. Apparently Sav does know about it. He's got the hair. It is very 0-0, Mark.
Wow, what a compliment that is. Lee Blakeman at Turf Moor.
I don't know what all the complaining's about. I'm having a great night here. Cracking game. Burnley 1, Rotherham 1. Rotherham went ahead after just less than 3 minutes. Burnley through Rodriguez, level on 35. We've only had 5 minutes of the second half, and already Burnley have had a chance to go ahead. Teller picking up the ball 25 yards out. Wild shot, though, over the crossbar. Given the opportunities he had in the first half, Teller, on another night, he could have had a hat-trick, but it doesn't sound like anyone's going to get one of those tonight. Judging by the other reporters, Burnley 1, Rotherham 1.
5 Live final score on the iPlayer and on the BBC Sport website this evening. So you get Ian and Izzy's commentary at Manchester City, along with the video printer and various other stats and stuff on there if you want to consume it that way this evening. One bit of football news that's broken in the last half hour or so, and Tottenham have confirmed that Son Heung-min will have surgery on a fracture around his left eye. He suffered that injury during yesterday's Champions League win at Marseille. Tottenham haven't given a timescale yet on his return. Asmir Begovic is with us this evening on 5 Live Sport. The biggest concern for the player, Asmir, must be the World Cup.
Well, it has to be. It has to be. I mean, that would have been a huge priority for him coming into the season. We all know how proud Sonny is of his Korean heritage, and representing his country at the World Cup would have been a big deal for him. So it doesn't sound like a nice one in terms of injury. No. So fingers crossed that he's obviously back fit and being able to play in the World Cup.
Tottenham have Liverpool at home in the Premier League next, Nottingham Forest in the League Cup, and then Leeds at home before they break for the World Cup. You would expect him probably to miss all of those, but the World Cup might be touch and go for him. Tottenham yet to confirm a timescale on his return. We're getting ready for the second halves in the Champions League. No more goals in the Championship as things stand, and we can there has been. Before we go to Ian and Izzy, let's go to Huddersfield. Naz Premji.
Huddersfield Town 0, Sunderland 1. I mentioned he got an ironic cheer. Alex Pritchard has scored for Sunderland. Lovely ball in from the right-hand side from Patrick Roberts, and he sliced the effort past Lee Nichols. It's Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 1.
Oh, they're flying in now. Laura Kenyon.
Cardiff 1, Watford 2. Ismail Assar back post header from another corner, chasing down the playoff places and firing in this second half. They lead for the first time. Cardiff 1, Watford 2.
Back to Izzy and Ian at the Etihad.
Thanks, Mark. 3 substitutions to tell you about. Rodri is going to be coming on for Manchester City. But before that, we've got 2 familiar players coming on for Sevilla. So Alex Telles, who's on loan from Manchester United, he has replaced Marcus Acuna in that left wing back role, and Suso has come on as well. and Suso has come on for Papu Gomez. You might remember that Suso used to be at the Liverpool Academy. He made 21 appearances for Liverpool before going off to Milan. And then the Manchester City change is Rodri has come on, and Jack Grealish is the player who has gone off. So Rodri coming on, he'll slot into that centre of midfield. We're about to get underway, so the referee blows his whistle. Orel Grinfeld from Israel. Second half underway on BBC Radio 5 Live. Manchester City sky blue shirts and white shorts, playing from right to left. So Ortega is in goal. You've got a back four now of Rico Lewis making his full debut for the club. Laporte and Diaz as the two central defenders. Sergio Gomez at left back, now with Gundogan and Rodri. And then you've got Foden, Cole Palmer, Alvarez, Mahrez, and that is the 11 for Manchester City. Foden, Gundogan, Rodri, Palmer, Alvarez and Mahrez. Yep, just making sure. And Sevilla in their all black in the second half from left to right, with Bono in goal. Montiel, Carmona, Rekic, Gudel and Telles is now how they line up, with that back five, if you like. Suso, Rakitic, Delaney and Isco, and the goal scorer, Rafa Mir, up front, as Manchester City look for an equaliser. We'll bring in Izzy Christiansen after we've heard of a goal at Wigan. Chris Coles.
Praise be, a goal at Wigan, but for Stoke City, the visitors lead in this big game at the bottom. Josh Tymon has it. Great run from the fullback, surging into the penalty area. He went for power from 4 yards. Good decision. It flew past the goalkeeper, and Wigan are behind. Wigan 0, Stoke 1.
Wigan have lost 6 of their last 7, and Stoke City were level on 19 points, but were just outside the relegation zone. So that's how crucial it is down at the foot of the championship table. Riyad Mahrez coming forward. Cries have come on City. He curls the ball in towards the penalty area. Headed out by Carmona. It'll run out of play for a throw. And we'll go to Norwich City and Aaron Paul.
Norwich 0, QPR 0. Massive chance for the visitors in. Chris Willock on as a substitute. Picked the ball up in the centre circle. Head towards goal. He fired a cracking effort which beat Angus Gunn. Ricocheted back off the post. Was fired back into the middle. And Lyndon Dykes with a header that was going into the far corner. He just saw it palmed out by Gunn once again. Cracking save by the Norwich goalkeeper. And the hosts very much on the ropes. Norwich 0, QPR 0.
Milan have scored a second in the Champions League. Milan 2, Salzburg 0 in Chelsea's group. As here is Foden. Foden forward, tries to hit it with the outside of his left boot. Comes out towards Mahrez. His curling effort was blocked on the edge of the area, and the ball rebounds out of play for a throw on this near side. And a Sevilla player has gone down, so it gives me an opportunity to bring in Izzy Christiansen early in this second half, is he?
Yeah, just that chance there from Foden. Now playing, you know, Grealish has come off. Foden's gone into the left forward position, playing in that pocket, receives the ball on the half turn. It's probably one of the best players in the Premier League at doing that, by the way. Receives the ball on the half turn, shifts the ball, curls it with the outside of his foot. Didn't quite see who it was that blocked the shot, but he's the one who's down injured.
Telles, I think
yeah,
it is.
It's Telles, you're right, it is Telles. Yeah, and he's gone down injured as a result, but really good play from City, and I think Guardiola wasn't happy with Jack Grealish in that first half. I think it's a difficult game for Grealish to play in this type of match. Guardiola obviously liked the link up between Gundogan and Foden on that left-hand side to get them closer together.
Well, Telles is back on his feet, but he's hobbling quite badly at the moment, as Cancelo and Bernardo Silva get a lovely reception from the City supporters around us as they start to warm up. And City with a throw on this near side the left, playing from right to left as we look. Go back towards the halfway line, and they spread play out towards Rico Lewis on that far side. And Mahrez plays it back to Ruben Diaz. Let's check in at Stamford Bridge. Alistair Bruce Ball.
On in the second half, news of that second AC Milan goal, really no good for Dinamo Zagreb. In fact, it doesn't make too much difference, obviously, because AC Milan are beating Salzburg, but Zagreb need to turn this around. They're still going for that early chance for them second half. Header from the centre-back, Sutalo, and Edouard Mendy got down well to save, low to his left, so Chelsea still lead Zagreb by 2-1.
Thank you, Ali. Sevilla still lead here by a goal to nil. Headed on by Mir, the goal scorer. Lifted, though, back for Manchester City by Rodri to Rico Lewis, who turns and passes the ball to Diaz. Lewis on the halfway line goes infield. Rodri now looking to try and link the play, switches it back out towards the right for Mahrez. Lewis on the overlap. Here is Lewis now, checks back into the penalty area, sends over a cross. Waiting for it is Sergio Gomez, and he's absolutely skied that. Tried to hit it on the full right-footed, and that was a real up and under. Eventually it drops, and Manchester City are back in possession.
Yeah, already with the introduction of Rodri in that central midfield for Man City, I've seen more tempo, more, dynamic movements moving forward. He's just picked up the pace of the play a little bit for Man City, which is what they've needed to look a little bit more fluid going forward.
But you're right, though, about momentum that you talked about at the end of the first half. One defeat in the last 17, that was against Liverpool. Manchester City and Pep Guardiola want to keep this winning run going. 8 straight home wins this season. But if you include their form at the end of last season, they've won their last 13 here at the Etihad. It's all about trying to make it a fortress, as has often been the case. Gundogan, lovely forward ball. Cole Palmer waits, back onto his left foot, maybe one touch too many. He actually ran into Montiel. The referee has played the advantage. Just thought it might open up for him then for the young man.
Yeah, really exciting player, the way he just got the ball on the half turn. He chopped in once, chopped in again, twice, sold a couple of defenders onto the floor, but the ball just ran away from him in the end. But he had the forward runs. If he just slipped in, I think it was Sergio Gomez on this left-hand side had made that third man run. He had the space just to pass the ball into for Gomez to run onto it. But really exciting bit of play from Cole Palmer.
Here is Rodri to Laporte, and City will play the ball across at the back. Chance at Stamford Bridge. Alistair Bruce ball.
2 chances for Chelsea to increase their lead. They lead Dinamo Zagreb 2-1. Aubameyang with a curling shot from the edge of the box. That came rattling back off the crossbar. Kai Havertz has just had a close range effort block, and Chelsea have a corner. They lead Dinamo Zagreb by 2-1.
Crystal Palace were the last team to stop Manchester City scoring at home when they won by 2-0 in October 2021, as Alvarez threads it forward, and an opportunity here is taken by Rico Lewis. What a fine goal that was, and the 17-year-old marks his full debut with a goal, rifling the ball into the roof of the net, and still Crystal Palace are the last team to stop Manchester City scoring at the Etihad, because City are level at 1-1.
What a goal, by the way. Rico Lewis, what a way to score. Look at him, he cannot hide his smile. It was beautiful bit of play, switch of play from Gundogan. Cole Palmer's actually the one that gets in the pocket. It's a second ball slipped in by, who was it? Yeah, it was Sergio Gomez. Sorry, Alvarez. And Rico Lewis, he could have squared it, but he instead fired it past the goalkeeper, Bono, into the top right-hand corner. Such a good finish. Took it by the scruff of the neck, and what a moment for him.
Well, it really was. That is what dreams are made of. His previous 4 appearances all off the bench, and the academy product on his first start, his full debut, and the look of surprise and astonishment as he celebrated with Phil Foden. That is a moment and a memory that is going to live with him for the rest of his career, I would imagine.
Yeah, and just watching them celebrate as well, Cole Palmer and Phil Foden, just how happy they were for him. They know how much it means to him. And they've been there before, scoring their first senior goal. They know what it feels like, and it's just such a good moment for the club, for everyone to see that.
So that sequence of scoring is now stretching to 29 matches here at the Etihad for Manchester City. And when you're a City supporter, they tend to get more than one. Now, that was a heavy challenge, and Phil Foden is hobbling a little bit. Phil Foden wincing, but is walking all right. You get to know how Gareth Southgate must be feeling, or indeed any international manager at this stage, with a World Cup just, less than 3 weeks away now, when all of the players who are going to be competing going in for challenges like that, because one injury now, there's very little time to recover.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's a pretty reckless challenge from Carmona, but it was also fair the way he's gone in. It was a good one too from Phil Foden. He does invite the challenge a little bit, but like you say, Ian, these challenges now, Gareth Southgate will be, watching, hoping that, nothing happens to
Gundogan with a free kick, right-footed, turned behind by Delaney for a corner kick. You're listening to commentary of BBC Radio 5 Live here at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Sevilla 1, Chelsea lead Dinamo Zagreb by 2-1. The striker Mir has gone down at the moment. Goodell helps him back to his feet. I think the referees just said, come on, we want to get this continued. It's going to be a corner kick to Manchester City on this near side, the left, so it should be an outswinger. 10 minutes into the second half here on BBC Radio 5 Live on what is a damp night. As Foden with the outswinging corner, free header, good save by the goalkeeper, flicked back in by Alvarez, and it runs wide. What a strong hand that was from Bono. It was a powerful header, but he did ever so well to react to keep it out.
Yeah, it's Rodri, isn't it? The ball's moving away from... Sorry, it's Ruben Diaz. Yeah, super header, really good save from the goalkeeper. Back across goal by Ruben Diaz. You know, a goalkeeper does really well and couldn't pick up the second ball.
Such a strong wrist, because his right hand was high, away from his body, but he managed to claw it out. Goal at Turf Moor in the Championship. Lee Blakeman.
Rotherham back in front. Burnley 1, Rotherham 2. Burnley lost it in the midfield. Ogbena, who'd only been on the pitch, having come on as a sub about 30 seconds ago, slotted home from the edge of the area. Burnley 1, Rotherham 2.
Rakitic sliding in, catches Mahrez. The referee lets play continue. Sergio Gomez hoists over the cross from the left corner of the penalty area. And then eventually it will get cleared away by Alex Telles on that far side, closed down very, very quickly by Rico Lewis. Manchester City are now going to bring on Bernardo Silva. Eric Lamela is going to be coming on as well. Lamela has faced Manchester City more times than any club in his career. Played 12, won 4, drawn 1, lost 7. His first visit was November 2013 when he lost 6-0 here. So Lamela coming on, and Bernardo Silva is replacing Gundogan. And who did he come on for? It was Isco. So Isco has gone off. First linked with Manchester City, hard to believe, 9 years ago, but Lamela comes on for Isco. 12 minutes into the second half, it's 1-1 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Where will we go next then? As we're getting going to get an update from Huddersfield in a minute, but Bernardo Silva quickly involved into the action. That was a foul by Alvarez. Blatant push, no attempt to play the ball, free kick to Sevilla. So Naz Premji watching Huddersfield-Sunderland.
Yes, Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 1. Alex Pritchard's goal separating the two sides. Huddersfield showing a bit more attacking intent. Danny Ward's on for Jordan Rhodes. They're trying to find a leveller here, which would get them a point, and will be a well-earned point as well, because they have really tried to pepper the Sunderland goal. Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 1.
And AC Milan have got a third goal at home to Salzburg in Chelsea's group. Milan 3, Salzburg 0. Chelsea still lead at Stamford Bridge against Dinamo Zagreb by 2-1. Manchester City want to continue their winning run. Alvarez with a cross from the left-hand side, and the goalkeeper was stretching. He actually dropped it, but then he picked it up quite comfortably.
He was fully in control of that, wasn't he? Almost, with a little bit of sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want him to hold your baby, would you? I wouldn't have thought. With, mind you, not that you'd toss a baby from the left-hand side like that, but his handling wasn't the most assured, is what I'm trying to say. Here is, don't add to that. Every now and again, the commentator gets himself involved in a cul-de-sac and we move on. Here is Foden with a cross, diagonal ball out towards the right-hand side, taken quite high on the chest by Mahrez. Mahrez back towards Foden. Foden tries to place it with his left foot. You're thinking if he hits it on his right, he'd have a better scoring angle. However, the ball is run away, and then they've lost it, Sevilla. Manchester City are firmly on top now. Here is Cole Palmer. Palmer, forward ball, couldn't find Alvarez. But they're dominating now, aren't they, Izzy?
Yeah, they've really found their flow. Man City, more dynamic, they're creating moments. I also think it's off the back of Sevilla making a couple of changes at half-time that changed the look of their team. They're not. I think they might have got a bit complacent, Sevilla. They thought they're in this. You know, let's go for the win. Actually, what they did in the first half was good. Not easy on the eye, may I add, for spectators, but it was functional. It worked. City couldn't get through them, and they've opened up the game a little bit now in this second half, and that substitution from Guardiola with Rodri I think has changed the game, because City are just much more dynamic. It moved Gundogan higher up, and now Gundogan's gone off, you've got Bernardo Silva in there, who we all know can create anything out of nothing. So yeah, City, I would look to be well on track to keep your sequence nice and neat on your paper, Dano.
Yeah, well, we called it. We did say that City had come from behind. Mind you, they're yet to get the second goal as we approach the hour here at the Etihad. Benfica are leading now by 2-1 as Sergio Gomez back to Bernardo Silva. The fact that Guardiola has made the changes certainly shows his intent to keep this momentum going. Bernardo Silva chips the ball out towards this near side, headed away by Montiel. And then it's back once more with Ruben Dias. Rodri takes over, forward of the centre circle. Sevilla try and push up a little bit to offer greater protection towards their goalkeeper. Sergio Gomez on this near side, the left, quite high. Back towards Bernardo Silva. Sevilla have every player all in black back behind the ball. Foden threads it through. Alvarez makes the run. Gudel goes with him, lays it off. Sergio Gomez, first time cross, cleared by Tellez. It really is quite a firm back five now, isn't it? The wing backs are essentially playing at fullback, is he?
Yeah, they are. City have dropped them right off again. Yep. Back five, front four, lone striker. Sevilla adopting that sort of formation that they reverted to in the first half.
Foden with a diagonal cross. That was better from Bono. It was a little bit more assured in terms of his handling. As here is Suso out to Tamir, once again drifting out towards the right. Let's get an update from Wigan with Chris Coles.
Amazing what a goal can do for a game. This is a good watch now following Stoke's opener. They still lead 1-0. They've just wasted a decent chance to double that advantage. Harry Clark blazing over from the edge of the box. The cavalry on for the home side now. Charlie Wyke and Josh McGuinness both on as they push for an equaliser. But Wigan still haven't found what they're looking for, Ian. Wigan 0, Stoke 1, 13 minutes to play.
Oh, touche. By the way, Rico Lewis is the second youngest English player to score a Champions League goal after Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham for Borussia Dortmund in April 2021. But Rico Lewis at 17 years and 346 days, the second youngest English player to score in the Champions League. Lamela, Tamir, coming onto it inside right channel, and he's hit it first time, right-footed, wayward finish, off target, and the ball headed. Sampaoli is doing his nut in the technical area.
Yep, very animated in the touchline there, the Sevilla manager, but good play from Sevilla, carved right through City's midfield, forward ball. It was Lamela receiving the ball on the half turn, went to draw a centre-back and released his striker, but yeah, really poor finish. But yeah, we've seen Lamela do that so often in the Premier League. When he was at Tottenham, he's so good at receiving the ball on the half turn and creating chances.
1-1 at the Etihad, 63 minutes played. Foden gets it out from his feet very quickly, out to Sergio Gomez, back to Bernardo Silva midway through the Sevilla half. Now it's with Ruben Dias. Passing the ball quicker here, City, with Rico Lewis, right-hand side. He goes back, laid off very quickly by Rodri. Now with Mahrez, just going away from the penalty area, but picks out that square ball. Again, I think Guardiola is getting a little bit frustrated with Mahrez. I think he wanted him to pick up the ball and try and be a little bit more attacking, try and maybe commit a man. Again, Guardiola is looking very animated with those arm movements and hand gestures in the direction of Riyad Mahrez. 64 minutes played, here he is now. What does Mahrez do? He plays the ball forward. Alvarez, little touch, runs away off his right leg and thrown out, scooped out underarm by Bono, the 31-year-old goalkeeper for Sevilla.
He's applauding the longer balls though. Pep Guardiola, he's liking those balls in behind the back five for Sevilla.
Well, at the minute on the balance of play, you'd say the next goal's going to come from City, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But City need to be aware, on the counter-attack as well, that Sevilla might just pull something out of nothing. But you can just see again, sorry to keep talking, but Guardiola's animation, he's really frustrated, and rightly so. His team's been really, slack in possession tonight. not really connected that well in passes. They've looked more dynamic in the second half, but not seen, too much quality from City so far.
That's Izzy Christiansen, 4 years at Manchester City. Now, of course, with Everton, as we sit here and watch this game at the Etihad, and Sevilla, I think, might be making another change. There is activity down below towards our right-hand side here at the Etihad. 1-1 in the Champions League, 65 minutes. But we're going to go to Stamford Bridge now, and Alistair Bruce ball.
25 minutes to go. Triple change here made by the Chelsea boss Graham Potter. Havertz, Aubameyang, Koulibaly have come off. Conor Gallagher, Armando Broja, Thiago Silva have come on. Chances coming thick and fast for Chelsea in the second half. Dinamo Zagreb need to win the game to try and finish third in the group. They're coming at Chelsea. Spaces are opening up. Chilwell's hit one into the side netting. Mason Mount has had a shot blocked. Kai Havertz, before he went off, had a header quite easily saved, and Chelsea leading Dinamo Zagreb by 2-1, but they look the side more likely to score next.
Thank you, Ali. Rakitic is on his feet. They are going to make a change, and it is going to be Hordan who's going to be coming on, the 28-year-old midfielder, so it might be like for like, Hordan for Rakitic. We'll get an update in the Championship at St Andrews. Birmingham Millwall, which is one of 2 games that remain goalless.
Yeah,
John Akers.
It's slightly better than it was earlier, but that's not difficult. We've got 10 minutes plus added time to go, and Millwall should be ahead. Bury with a one-on-one, saved really well by Ruddy. He came out, was brave. It's the best chance we've had in the game. Still Birmingham 0, Millwall 0.
The other one is Norwich City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Elsewhere, Burnley 1, Rotherham 2, Cardiff 1, Watford 2, Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 1, Wigan 0, Stoke City 1. Remember, you can listen to 5 Live. 5 Live final score is available at the iPlayer, or on the iPlayer, as well as the BBC Sport website. There's now been a sending off at Turf Moor. Lee Blakeman.
Yeah, Rotherham still a goal up, but now a man down. Cohen Bramall given a second yellow, late tackle on Connor Roberts. So Rotherham treading on thin ice here, but still leading at Turf Moor by 2-1.
No win in 3 for Rotherham, so it's going to be a long fight towards the end as Hordan comes on for Rakitic. And they'll hope that Rakitic is all right in the 3rd season of his second spell for the former Barcelona player. So Rakitic, of course, a World Cup runner-up 4 years ago, and Hordan comes on to replace him like for Sevilla. Midway through the second half, you're listening to 5 Live. It's Manchester City 1, Sevilla 1. At the weekend, Leeds Bournemouth, and the usual goal service from 3. Mark Chapman live on air from 12 o'clock, Leeds Bournemouth, Everton Leicester to follow that at 5:30. And 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, Aston Villa Manchester United at 2, Tottenham Liverpool at 4:30. Here we're watching the Sky Blues of Manchester City. Sergio Gomez, left corner of the penalty area, back to Bernardo Silva, runs forward. Everybody back for Sevilla. Ruben Diaz coming forward now, passes the ball to the right-hand side. Rico Lewis, the City goal scorer, plays it towards Mahrez. When you've got all 10 outfield players as compact as they are, Manchester City just waiting for that right ball, that right pass to try and prise open this defence.
Yeah, it's really difficult to play against, and Guardiola must get so frustrated with teams coming and doing this, but it's what he's built over the years. And just looking down on the City bench, you've got De Bruyne getting himself ready to go, and I think that's a really worrying sign for Sevilla. I think good time to bring him on. They need a bit of quality, City. The game is, it picked up at the start of the second half and it's gone flat again. Like we were talking about with momentum and City's status in this competition, and mentality and belief. Because of course City are going to want to win it this year, aren't they? I don't think there's any excuses this year. They've got everything they need. They've got that striker in Haaland, and it's all about momentum. Pep wants to win this game without a doubt.
Yeah, he certainly does, and full credit to him as well, because with the amount of games coming up, you could be thinking, he doesn't need to win it, but he wants to win it, and that's the difference. Yeah, that's it. And from a physical loading perspective for players, to not play, but then to go and play 90 at the weekend, which I'm sure De Bruyne probably will do. It's good to keep your body ticking over and get that match exposure in your legs ready to go at the weekend. So 20 minutes now for their key player in Kevin De Bruyne, I think is perfect. Cole Palmer's coming off. He's been brilliant. He has been brilliant at times. Well, he gets a pat on the back from Pep Guardiola. So Kevin De Bruyne comes on for Cole Palmer, and Josh Wilson Esbrand comes on to replace Sergio Gomez in defence on that left-hand side. And we have just over 20 minutes remaining. But Manchester City want to maintain their winning run here at the Etihad, with further home games to come over the next 10-11 days or so. And a cross coming in from Rodri, Bernardo Silva. But also as well, if you look now at the there's a lot of young supporters here watching this game as well. You know, for some of them, their hard-earned money, that might be one of the first glimpses they get of De Bruyne. So that will put a smile on some of the young supporters' faces too, I'm sure.
Absolutely. He's, you know, him and Haaland are the key players for this City team. And like you say, you know, for the supporters, it's really integral. They see their idols and their role models live, and De Bruyne coming on for 20 minutes is, you know, first hand for a young fan seeing this for the first time. It's pretty exciting.
And here he is on the ball, but he's played it in rather low, didn't get any elevation. Break for Sevilla with Suso. Mir is going ahead of him. They're playing from left to right, all in black. Juventus 1, Paris Saint-Germain 2, and Maccabi Haifa 1, Benfica 3. So it doesn't really mean that anything has changed in that group. Paris Saint-Germain and Benfica first and second respectively, but Juventus into the Europa League as it stands. There was a spell at one stage where they thought they might not be in Europe at any point with the results from Turin. Bono, that was a careless ball, almost played blindly, all in yellow, away towards our left-hand side, as City picking it up once more, once again, with 18 minutes remaining. And the ball now is out with Rico Lewis, as Pep Guardiola, who's only lost 2 of his 13 matches against Sevilla as a manager. He's won 9, wanting to try and get into to double figures, as Manchester City looking for a 9th straight win here at home, as the City supporters all rise to their feet. In comes the cross, and a glancing header from Foden goes out of play for a goal kick. We will go to, should we go to Stamford Bridge? Chelsea, Dinamo Zagreb. Ali?
Rain absolutely teeming down in West London now. No change in the scoreline since you were last here. About 18 minutes to play. Chelsea leading Dinamo Zagreb by a couple of goals to 1. Conor Gallagher on a driving run forward. Foul just on the edge of the box. Chances have been coming thick and fast for Chelsea in the second half. They've just not been able to take another to stretch their lead. They lead Dinamo Zagreb by 2 goals to 1.
We talked about the 2 goalless games in the Championship. One of them is at St Andrews, Birmingham, Millwall, but the other is at Carrow Road, and a big chance, Aaron Paul.
Cracking chance for Norwich here, Norwich 0.
Hold on, Aaron. De Bruyne has played the ball in. Alvarez goes around the goalkeeper, and what a finish from Alvarez. But what a ball from De Bruyne. Pierce prized open the Sevilla defence, absolutely cut them apart, and Alvarez latched onto it, rounded the goalkeeper, still had work to do, and what a finish off his left foot. And Manchester City have come from behind, and they lead by 2 goals to 1.
I'm just sitting here laughing, Ian, because that ball from De Bruyne, oh my word, picks up the second ball into his path. He's got space, he's got time. Alvarez, he just peels off the back shoulder, and De Bruyne just feeds the ball into the space. Alvarez has still got a lot to do, takes it around the goalkeeper and pierces it into the roof of the net. But that ball from De Bruyne, how many times have we seen him do that in a Man City shirt? He just feeds the ball into the area, which causes havoc. Bono's got no chances. Alvarez takes it round him, and I thought he'd scuffed the finish at one point, but it just went into the roof of the net. What a goal.
He was right-hand side, just over the halfway line, and that diagonal ball, and as Izzy says, Alvarez still had a lot to do, but it was an excellent finish, and Manchester City lead by 2 goals to 1. And we'll go back to Aaron. Apologies.
Pure jealousy, Ian, on my part, because it remains Norwich 0, QPR 0. We've got 6 minutes of added time, but Seny Dieng has pulled off another cracking save. Pukki and Ono Hernandez, the substitute, pushing forward for the home side. It was fed through to Hernandez. He held off the defender, lashed the ball towards goal. Dieng with a cracking acrobatic save to keep this level. Into 6 minutes of added on time. Norwich 0, QPR 0.
Rico Lewis now doing the step overs right-hand side. And in the end, his cross was overhit, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. Maccabi Haifa 1, Benfica 4 is the latest score. That was, we talked before about De Bruyne saying the difference he's going to make. What was it, his second, third touch?
If that, yeah. He's just amazing the way he can just come on. And I was watching him warm up at the start of the game, and you know what, he actually didn't warm up. He was just stood on the touchline talking to other staff members. You know, he probably wasn't planning to be involved tonight, but Pep's had to look over his shoulder and go, hang on a minute, I think I need him here. And what does he do? He just delivers within a few minutes of being on the pitch.
It was a brilliant ball.
It was super. You just can't, honestly, you cannot rival that type of play. Just super. But really good management from Guardiola with Alvarez staying patient the whole game, and he just gets his chance.
Cross from Tellez. Mia hits it first time with a volley. Quite a tight angle, actually, right-hand side, and it goes out for a goal kick. I think Guardiola was thinking, am I going to do it with or without you, with Kevin De Bruyne? Yeah. And in the end, he decided that he was just going to do it with him. Don't answer again.
I got that one, though. I got that one. I got a really good briefing at half-time of who Bono was, and it's really bad for me, but I've totally got that one, Deno.
Yeah, I couldn't resist. Sorry. Chris, watching Wigan Stoke.
Nervy moments for Stoke. Wigan denied an equaliser right at the death. The offside flag going up, corner came in, it was bundled over the line, but the flag prematurely ending the celebrations for Wigan. We're into 6 minutes of stoppage time, and we played 2 of them. Wigan 0, Stoke 1.
Rico Lewis is forward, he got the equaliser. Manchester City have come from behind, looking to extend this winning run, this unbeaten run. In fact, Spurs were the last side to win here back in February, unbeaten in 17 since, as only Sporting and Liverpool in that period have actually stopped Manchester City from winning. Sevilla threatened to do it for a period of time, but with 13 minutes remaining, City now have the mojo. And just imagine if City don't score again, that sequence will be extended, and I can say, I told you so. Here is De Bruyne. Although the way that they're playing, they've got that bit between their teeth, they're looking to add more goals. Here is Foden. Oh, lovely turn by Foden, and the cross wasn't bad either, and Tellez heads it away. That was just a delightful 360-degree turn inside the penalty area with the ball somehow glued to his feet. You can only admire Foden. Lewis is showing some nice touches. Lewis is trying to match him. They're having a face-off.
Yeah. And then he's got the foul. That's super play from Foden. And then, yeah, Rico Lewis has said, hang on a minute, I'm going to steal your thunder tonight, Phil.
Yeah. They just don't ever disappoint, Manchester City.
Nah, they've had to work for it tonight, though. They've really had to work for it to get to this level of performance. But I'll say it again, they've only started doing this since De Bruyne come onto the pitch.
Yeah. Disallowed goal at Turf Moor. Lee Blakeman.
Yeah, ball over the top. Substitute Ashley Barnes got onto the end of it, drilled it into the roof of the net. Flag up over on the far side. So the 10 men of Rotherham continue to hang on with 3 minutes to go plus stoppage time. Burnley 1, Rotherham 2.
De Bruyne with the cross, hasn't been dealt with. Now it's been hooked away by Delaney. Do you remember, though, that one of the questions that Mark asked us at the start of the game about sometimes in these type of matches you see a youngster and you think, oh, I remember him. And I know that Rico Lewis has made 4 appearances off the bench before tonight, but the way some of his touches, some of his movement, obviously his goal, and you think this is a right back for the future. Yeah,
without a doubt. I completely agree. I think that
De Bruyne's cross takes the deflection, caught by Bono. Sorry, is it?
Yeah, his performance has been really mature. You know, he's really tactically very smart. You can tell on and off the ball. His technical ability is very, very high level in terms of keeping the ball and asking his fullbacks, Guardiola, to play infield. It requires a different level of you know, technical detail. You've almost got to think and play like a midfielder. You know, you've got to be checking your shoulder at 360 angles, and yeah, he's brilliant, you know, and his goal just sums it up. That's very trademark City, fullbacks overlapping, joining in and adding goals and assists to their game, and he's done that, and I'm sure he'll be making his manager very pleased tonight.
Well, he was captain of the under-18s last season, so they clearly believe that he's got leadership qualities as well as Manchester City. With 10 minutes remaining, Bono showing good footwork actually in between two City players, Mahrez and then Alvarez, as then Carmona plays it back to Bono, and then he slips as he clears the ball out towards that far side. Little layoff, and then Lamela has lost the ball, and then Rodri tidies up. Rodri made a difference when he came on, didn't he?
Yeah,
Just to
he
shore
did.
things up in the midfield,
He
link
did.
things.
Yeah, absolutely. And every time he's done something good, Guardiola's raised his hands above his head and clapped. I think he's obviously very fond of the way Rodri plays. It's what the game's needed. Bit of intensity.
The other thing about this Manchester City Champions League campaign is that they're still yet to concede in open play, because Bellingham scored a header from a corner just as Mia had scored from the corner kick in the first half. So one of the favourites for the competition. They will be among the top seeds for Monday morning's draw. You'll hear it on BBC Radio 5 Live. It's at 11 o'clock at UEFA's HQ in Lyon on the banks of Lake Geneva. But the top seeds will be Napoli, Porto, Bayern, Tottenham, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain. So City will avoid those sides. They can't get Liverpool, they can't get Borussia Dortmund. So City's opponents will be Bruges, Inter, Eintracht Frankfurt, Milan or Benfica. We'll find out on Monday. Full-time at St Andrews, Birmingham Millwall, John Akers.
0-0, a very poor game of football. One real chance in the game for Millwall, and Tyler Bury one-on-one, good save by Ruddy, but that was really it. Birmingham 0, Millwall 0.
It was 5th against 4th at Carrow Road, and it's finished. Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Norwich 0, QPR 0. It's as you were in the league table. A cracking display from both goalkeepers. Dieng and Gunn both putting on masterclasses. Pookie struck the foot of the post. Grant Hanley just fired a volley against the woodwork. Ian, we could have played until the end of the world and no one would have scored. Hey, some days are better than others. Norwich 0, QPR 0.
And when the results come in from Burnley, Cardiff, Huddersfield and Wigan in the 4 other games in the Championship, we will, of course, bring those results to you here on BBC Radio 5 Live, as a number of the supporters with 8 minutes remaining are thinking, I'm going to beat the traffic. It's not a great night in terms of the weather, and also the fact that it's not raining. I want to try and get to the car while I'm dry. That would help. So they're just starting to disappear towards the exits. But there's been a late goal at Turf Moor. It was Burnley 1, Rotherham 2. Lee Blakeman.
Burnley are level. It's 2-2. Manuel Benson with a left-footed curler from the edge of the area into the far side of the net as we enter 10 minutes of additional time. Burnley 2, Rotherham 2.
Burnley looking to extend their unbeaten run in the Championship to 16 games. Carmona is still on the ball. He's lost out to Alvarez. Alvarez now squares it. This is Mahrez inside the penalty area, and Mahrez scores. Mahrez with a 3rd goal for Manchester City as they extend their winning run at the Etihad. It's Manchester City 3, Sevilla 1.
That goal has come from Alvarez. His pressing, just forcing the mistake. You know, he just doesn't give up the way he presses. He presses, he pushes him back, the central defender for Sevilla. He wins the ball off him, and then Mahrez is just 2v1, slips it into the path of Mahrez, and Mahrez does not miss from there. Super finish into the corner of the net. But it's all about Alvarez and his endeavour to win the ball back. And Pep Guardiola's very, very happy about that. He was turning round at his bench and the fans and, you know, fist pump in the air, and really pleased with that goal. But super finish from Mahrez, and fortunately, Dano, your sequence.
Oh, I forgot about that. It's
dear.
gone. It's gone. But I tell you what it does mean, though, is that in City's 8 straight home wins this season, only once against Borussia Dortmund have they failed to score more than 3. So that is now 37 goals in 9 games. That's an average of more than 4 a game, and I wasn't very good at maths.
It's ridiculous. Rico Lewis, I think, has got an issue. He's waving to the bench.
So Cancelo is going to be coming on. Wigan Stoke, Chris Coles.
The points heading down the M6 from Wigan to Stoke. Important win for Alex Neil's side, ending a run of 3 consecutive defeats, put some distance between themselves and the relegation zone. Deserved win, difficult watch at times. Josh Tymon with the game's only goal, smashing in from close range. Wigan had a goal disallowed for offside in stoppage time, but didn't create anywhere near enough and slipped to their 5th straight defeat, keeping them firmly in the bottom 3. Wigan 0, Stoke 1.
We'll get the full time at Cardiff after we've heard of a late goal at Huddersfield. Naz Premji.
Huddersfield Town 0, Sunderland 2, deep into added on time, down the right-hand side. Ahmed Diallo, lovely finish past Lee Nichols. They are taking all 3 points back to the northeast with pride. Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 2.
And you can certainly hear that strong travelling support. Cardiff-Watford finished. Laura Kenyon.
Cardiff 1, Watford 2, a win taking Watford into the playoff places. All 3 goals headed home from corners, but Ismail Assar's second half effort that secures all 3 points. 3 wins on the bounce for them, and Cardiff, well, they played some nice stuff, but failed to put distance between them and bottom 3. Cardiff 1, Watford 2.
Rico Lewis has been replaced by Cancelo. The referee actually made him go off on the far side of the pitch, which is great for him because it means that he's had to walk across all in front of the City supporters, and for each section they're giving him a standing ovation after what has been a very impressive full debut.
Yeah, and his teammates, as soon as his number went up on the 4th official board, his teammates were just gathered around him, giving him a pat on the back, a pat on the head to say well done. Well done, mate. He's been brilliant tonight, and like you say, Deno, it's really nice to see him getting the plaudits. He would have got it anyway if he'd come straight off, but he's just really soaking it up. He's got half a pitch walk around, and fans are just standing up as he walks past.
It's brilliant for the young lad. He's only 17 years of age. Chance of Rico, and Rico Lewis is one of our own. Manchester City lead by 3-1. Foden challenged. Chance at Stamford Bridge. Alistair Bruce ball.
In the 88th minute, incredible chance for Thiago Silva. There's been a ton of chances for Chelsea in this second half. The goalkeeper Livakovic has made a couple of excellent saves to deny Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher. This chance though, Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell whipped in the perfect free kick, less than 5 yards out, right in the middle of the goal, and completely miscued the volley attempt on the side foot. I think, Deno, at a push, you or I possibly might have scored that, you know. Chelsea 2, Dinamo Zagreb 1.
I'm not sure about that. Edge of the area here is Rodri for Manchester City. He chips it out towards Cancelo, kills the ball dead, right-hand side, feints to cross, then wins a corner kick. Full time at Huddersfield, Naz Premji.
Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 2. Goals from Alex Pritchard and Ahmed Diallo late send all 3 points back to the northeast. It'll be a beautiful day for those Black Cats fans tomorrow. Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 2.
Yeah, we've already done that one, Naz, I'm afraid. It's certainly not a beautiful day for Tellez. He's just been caught in the unmentionables. His eyes are watering. The City supporters like that for the United player on loan. He'll be speaking with a high-pitched voice for a while, I would imagine, as the cross comes in on that far side, the right. 2 and a bit minutes remaining, headed out by Goodell, comes out to Bernardo Silva, left corner of the area, swings it towards the far post, downward header, saved by the goalkeeper on his goal line. So with that Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 2 scoreline, we've had every result in the Championship apart from Burnley 2, Rotherham 2, where they were into 10 minutes of added on time at Turf Moor. Burnley would go 16 unbeaten in the Championship, but they would be, well, they'd only go an extra point clear of their East Lancashire rivals Blackburn at the top of the table. 5 Live Sport, we're going to focus on the cricket around 10:15. We're with you through until 10:30 when Nick Bright takes over on BBC Radio 5 Live. But under 2 minutes remaining of normal time, where Manchester City are leading by 3-1, and their second half performance certainly merits that, Izzy.
Yeah, it certainly looked more like Manchester City in this second half. Sevilla did well to block in the first, but yeah, much more dynamic from City, you know, a bit more purpose to their play. Rodri, Bernardo, De Bruyne joining the fray, and just goes to show how key those players are for City. We talk a lot about squad depth, but you know what's interesting though, the Grealish substitution at half-time. I'm not so sure, you know, he wasn't great, but why him? He needs minutes. He needs minutes.
Yeah. Why do you think, as the professional?
I think it's because Guardiola wasn't happy with him. You know, he didn't really get into the game much, but
is that because Grealish can sometimes slow down a game?
Well, exactly what I think. He holds onto the ball too long for me. For this City team, listen, he's a top player. Saw it at Villa for, you know, however long, how good he is at, you know, driving with the ball and stuff like that. But I was confused when he signed here at Man City in terms of how was he going to adapt to Guardiola's quick style of play. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, certainly the tempo has been increased in this second half, and Manchester City have profited from it with the 3 goals, and Benfica are in amongst the goals as well, as they now lead in Israel. Maccabi Haifa 1, Benfica 5 is the latest score in the Champions League, and we have 3 minutes remaining of added on time. And Sevilla's winless run is going to be extended in the Champions League to 7 games since their last success on their travels away at Rennes in December 2020. And, well, their supporters, who've been singing in the rain for quite a while, those hardy souls that have made the long trip over. When they were leading, they were happy, they were singing and swirling their red and white scarves. However, normal service has been resumed, and Manchester City will have won all 4 games now against Sevilla in their Champions League encounters, as they lead here 3-1. But Sevilla are attacking. Cross comes in and caught by Ortega. No, he spilt it, and then Delaney drives it over the rebound. Came quite quickly to the Danish international, left-footed, couldn't keep it down.
Yeah, big chance. You know, Ortega comes to claim the cross. Good bit of play from Sevilla. Finished with a cross, fizzed in from that left-hand side. Ortega, you know, he didn't really need to do that. He could have caught it, in my opinion, but drops it into the path. And the effort on goal eventually just skied out. Yeah, actually, he couldn't have caught that, no chance. A bit ambitious from me saying that, but...
Manchester City are attacking. Alvarez, right-hand side, enters the penalty area, pulls it back. Foden with a finish. Got a deflection on its way through behind for a corner kick. Now, there had been a late goal at Turf Moor where Burnley equalised in the 91st minute. Lee Blakeman said there were 10 minutes of added on time, and you've had another goal.
Burnley have won it in the 100th minute, 3-2. They lead against Rotherham. Shot from the edge of the area from Brownhill, spilled by goalkeeper Johansson, and substitute Halil Dervisoglu got the tap in from 6 yards out. Turf Moor has gone absolutely crazy. Burnley are going 5 points clear at the top. They lead Rotherham 3-2.
And 5 points clear of their rivals and neighbours Blackburn, as 3-2 they lead. It'll be 4 without a win for Rotherham. Milan 4, Salzburg 0 is the latest score in the Champions League. We're into the last of the 3 minutes of added on time here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Don't forget the Rugby Union, the Women's World Cup semi-finals. Coverage back-to-back starts with England-Canada at 3:30 on Saturday morning. Leeds-Bournemouth at 3, to be followed by Everton-Leicester at 5:30. And 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, Aston Villa, Manchester United and Tottenham against Liverpool. But in the Champions League, Manchester City, for a 6th successive season, topping the group as group winners with 14 points from their 6 games. And who will they face? Well, we'll find out the last 16 draw on Monday morning on BBC Radio 5 Live. Will there be time for the corner to be taken? The answer is no, because there is the final whistle. And Manchester City have extended their winning run to 14 matches here, coming from behind against Sevilla with an excellent second half performance. Mir had put Sevilla ahead with a header unmarked after 31 minutes, but Manchester City really did get the bit between their teeth in the second half. Rico Lewis on his full debut with the equaliser 7 minutes into the second period. De Bruyne off the bench made an almost immediate impact with a delightful ball for Alvarez to round the goalkeeper, and then Alvarez turned supplier for Mahrez to finish the scoring. Is it Christensen?
Yeah, in the end City's class came through, but really good first half from Sevilla. City struggled to break them down, and, you know, going a goal behind for City perspective, you know, it sparked change for Guardiola, tactically adjusted, brought Rodri on at half-time, took off Grealish. That had an immediate impact on the flow of the game, more dynamic, more flow to City's play, and that created, and the gaps just started to open up. And really good from Guardiola, bringing on De Bruyne, bringing on Bernardo Silva at times when the game was starting to stretch, where those types of players were going to come, and be who they are. De Bruyne with that world-class assist for Alvarez's goal, and City just proved to be too much for Sevilla in the end.
Significant change elsewhere in the Champions League, because Benfica have beaten Maccabi Haifa by 6-1. Paris Saint-Germain have won away in Turin, but Benfica will actually top Group H as a result, and Paris Saint-Germain will be among the the unseeded sides and a potential opponent for Manchester City as a result. But here at the Etihad, it has finished Manchester City 3, Sevilla 1. Mark.